totally dependable, plumbing and electrical. 0800 Get Laser.
Celebrating 25 years of Laser, I'm Kyle, the GM of Laser Group, and this is Laser Across the Network, where legacy meets leadership.
We've been involved with the Laser team since the early days, and so we've seen it grow and succeed in market. We want to be associated with good companies and professional businesses and businesses that are growing and succeeding and doing a really good job for the industry. Thanks, Kyle. Look, awesome to be here. I'm James Koers. I'm the National Account Manager for Mico, looking after a whole bunch of national key accounts across the country. Laser being the biggest and largest of those. Have been in this role for about coming up 3 years. And as a business, Mico have had a long-term relationship with the Laser Group, stretching right back to early days, sort of 2016, 2017.
How's it going, Kyle? Nick Danks here, J. Russel's Key Account Manager for Laser Group. Been looking after Laser for 4 years, been with J. Russel for 4 years, been in the electrical industry for over 20 years.
Now, to have you guys along on a podcast where we're looking to sort of celebrate the 25-year tenure of Laser, and you both mentioned the long association with Laser, but you go, why is a supplier on the podcast? And you think about the close association for which we work, the benefit that you deliver to members, and why that's valuable both ways, I think is important. So what makes Laser a valuable customer? I mean, you said number one, which is nice to know, and thank you, but that's not it, right?
It is a reasonable size and scale, right? That's actually something that's pretty important. But I think for us, we've been involved with the Laser team since early days, and so we've seen it grow and succeed in market. We want to be associated with good companies and professional businesses and businesses that are growing and succeeding and doing a really good job for the industry. We think our size and scale help. So, we've got a great footprint across the country that aligns really nicely to members. It's that depth of relationship that we've had going back such a long time. We've got good relationships at branch levels with members. We've got really good relationships with regional teams. And we've also got a really strong relationship at head office as well. We're talking, we're sharing, we're engaging on a whole lot of stuff that's well beyond the transactional. And I think that just comes from time and knowing each other really well and having a really solid grounding in that relationship.
How do you see that the relationship supports members to win?
The relationship is built on so many years that, we have a fairly intimate understanding of each member's business. So we like to think that we have the right stock, we have the specialty teams, we have all the pieces of the puzzle in place so that the members can get out there and, win jobs, deliver them successfully, lock in some really strong long-term customer relationships with their customers.
Certainly there's got to be alignment between Laser and any key supplier. And so while I've got you guys sitting here on the couch as the key account managers, what's your team look like, and then how does that support a network?
We looked at this a wee while ago where we had, I think at the time it was 68 branches, and we had Laser shopping at 66 of them across the year, right? That's staggering. We don't have another customer that looks and feels like that. So even though some of those branches might only be doing a little bit, the Laser member's actually really, really important to the branch. And so we spend a lot of time at that local level engaging with member, understanding who they are, as Nick said, what stock they need, what market segment they're in, how can we better support them. I suppose what we try to do is make sure that the branches are operating really well in that sort of more of that transactional space, and then at Nick's level, at my level, engaging with you and the BPMs and the like, and going, where are those other things that we can work on together to add some value?
So if I was a member in Christchurch, say, and I found that there was something I needed help for with a quote, there was a stock out, any number of scenarios that a member's going to call for. Now, do they touch base with Laser? Do they call the branch? Do they call you? Like, what's the channel to market for those guys?
Usually the first point of call is I deal with their branch. If they're having an issue there for some reason, then they'll talk to a regional. It just slowly comes up the chain. But we like to think that the members have got good relationships with these branch managers based over many years.
Now, you've used the word issue, right? And I won't sit here and pretend it's all pretty, and I can see both of you grinning at me going, how hard is it going to hit me here? We're not going to do that. Like, stuff crops up, right? But the way that it's dealt with is important. So what are those means to problem solve?
Look, it's something that comes up from time to time. These things happen. There are people involved. People get a bit emotional sometimes, and I guess it's good to have that centralised account management through the likes of Nick and I that can coordinate, and when those things are escalated as needed. We're very similar to Nick and their structure. I think we'll always encourage member to engage locally. right, with branch manager. If that's not possible, then we have regionals as well that are relatively well known to the members. And then beyond that, we've had a couple of cases in the last couple of years where things have just, there's been some issue between branch and member. And so when we do that, we do swing into action and try and wrap our arms around them and support both our guys locally, but also the Laser members.
Are you seeing any other examples, Nick, where the partnership between Laser and Russel's in this instance is particularly strong and what those benefits are?
One example springs to mind is the EV charges we did with Custom Fleet and a lot of the large government agencies. So Laser was a perfect fit for that. It had good geographical coverage, and we've worked on that for quite some time now. We've all had some learns along the way, but it's been a very successful project for both of us.
Yeah, and I think about another lead that you guys shared with us several weeks ago, right, where a customer of yours was looking to get into the New Zealand market and they needed a channel to market, and so you guys provided that lead to us, which was really valuable as well. James, from your perspective, are there other benefits that come from the scale between the two businesses that support members and branches?
Yeah, look, 100% there are. So a couple of examples that spring to mind. One is we have within our business what's called a Mico design team, so sort of design and specification, and they're engaging with developers and landowners and hotel owners and government and architects and things. So they're the canary in the mine for us because they're working on stuff that might be 6 or 12 months down the track. We've worked really hard over probably the last 12 months or so to surface up a lot of the work that those guys are doing and make sure that Laser members have a really good opportunity to get involved in those projects, and it's just given them an opportunity to chase down more work than they might normally have known about.
Think about the reporting that you guys deliver in terms of the Mico Index for us. Mm-hmm. Think about the quarterly business reviews that we have in terms of how you look at concrete and construction and consents and those things. How does that benefit members from this is coming down the pipe?
Again, it speaks to the relationship. You know, we'll always share a lot more with Laser team than we do with any of our other sort of standard SME style customers. What we like though is I guess that level of engagement that we get out of Laser and head office. So it's rather than us just spamming you guys with reports and data, which we can do, but it's useful. We've refined some of that stuff over a period of time, and hopefully it's actually meaningful and you can actually start to pick up trends out of it. You can use it to do some forecasting, which I think we both now have a crack at every month. You know, just that's a scale of engagement, of professionalism that we wouldn't do with anyone else.
Before we pushed the on-air button, we were talking about conference and T-shirts and things like that. So the delivery, again, goes beyond issue resolution. It goes beyond forecasting. It goes beyond making sure products are on shelves at the right time and in the right place. There is a wider engagement piece. What's that look like for you, and why is that important?
If we talk about conference, it's just a really good excuse to get together with customers and just have some fun, really build some strong relationships. I think the relationship building part is the most important, because if they need us, they know us, and they're happy to get in contact.
You talked about EV, and I forget the expression you used, but we know that when you adopt something new, it's not going to go smoothly.
No, you've always got to learn new things.
So what was the different field and how are you coaching people into the benefits of that?
Well, this particular member had put a job advert out for a Sparky, and one of the guys that had come back had some solar experience. So he's like, what do you reckon? Should we get him on board? Should we, wrap a business model around him? And I said, I think your timing is perfect. The challenge is you can have the best solar installer in the world, but you need to have a really good salesperson.
And it's a great way to look at it, right? Because you're actually going, we'll set you up for success, but these are the other things you'll need. And when people call you for advice, that positions you quite uniquely, right? You've got a stat around solar. I often quote, 1/3 of New Zealand solar was installed in 2024. Is that right?
The uptake is definitely trending. We're still, in my opinion, in the infancy. I think it's going to be a huge market over the next few years.
So a Sparky listening to this now, if you could say, do one thing today.
Trained to be a plumber.
Hey, there's more to life than just money. Look at different fields. We've got currently a lot of incentives around being clean and green. We've got the banks with their 1% loans. I don't necessarily think that cost is a barrier. I think if we had good salespeople out there talking to Laser customers, there would be a lot of work that could be potentially on the table.
And is that the simple message? You might be right. It might feel like the plumbing industry is lagging behind the electrification of the world. So I don't think it's unique to a particular trade. But when someone's on site, they could be looking at those other things as well. You mentioned a couple of businesses before that I think have done that quite successfully. Is that what you sort of see and go, we define success as those that go in and go, we've got this, but we also know that the customer needs X, Y, and Z beyond that?
And I think you'll see that through some of your members. I mean, the members are different size, but they're probably different capability and different stages of their life cycle as well. And so those members that do, they look for every opportunity and they're not just doing service and maintenance or resi or whatever. When they're on site, they're looking at every single opportunity. They're looking at rainwater options and rainwater harvesting. They're looking at solar hot water, water efficiency. So those members that have got their head around, I guess, the broad spectrum of all of those different segments are probably going to do pretty well.
You have a very strong supplier ecosystem yourself, right? And sometimes people go, I turn up to the wholesaler and it's red or it's blue and it's green and it's pink, whatever. But there is a tremendous amount that goes on in the background, including working with your suppliers. So how do you do that? And where is the value, again, for an end buyer?
The electrical industry still has a lot of innovation and is changing quickly. So it's sometimes hard to keep up, especially for members who are running a busy business.
Well, it's hard for the merchant to keep up as well, isn't it? We've obviously all got key suppliers and they might be at conference, and then there's another layer down that is still pretty important but not quite at that scale. But to be across as a merchant, all of those innovations and new products and new trends that are coming out, it can be really hard.
And we're lucky because we have suppliers coming in and telling us about these products all the time. And I don't know if it always necessarily gets through to our end user customers.
No, I wouldn't think so. So conference it's a great opportunity for those really key suppliers to be directly in front of member. I won't say bypassing merchant, but they are directly engaging and not relying on us to sell their product. I mean, they need to be out there selling it as well. And it's a great opportunity for them to spend time, show the latest and greatest, engage and connect with the end user of the product.
And I guess I talk about conference because I see the tremendous value that comes from it, both across the network and the networking, the stories, the supplier, the keynotes, the relationships that are built, whether it's at 5 o'clock in the afternoon or 5 o'clock in the morning. Nick, you're grinning flat out. Why from your perspective, why does a member turn up to conference themselves?
It's to connect. It's to connect not only, we love it when they connect with the merchant and the supplier base, but they're part of a wider laser group of members of 100, 110 members, not people, but members. So, an ecosystem of 300 or 400, whatever it is. And so that opportunity to be off the tools, working on the business, not in the business for 3 or 4 days, once a year. Just think back to when you come into opening night and the noise and the banter and it's just full on, right? Because people are reconnecting. And in some cases, they haven't seen each other for the best part of 12 months. Yeah. But they've been in the laser group for a long time. They develop those relationships so that when something happens, either with us or the supplier or another member, they can pick up the phone. They know who that person is, they can call because they've spent the time, they've invested in the relationship, they know them. Yeah, they've had a beer at 2 o'clock in the morning and done some bad karaoke, but that's what develops and creates those really strong relationships. So look, we're always super excited to be at conference just because of the size and scale that it is.
Now, James, you've been key account manager 4 years?
3 years.
3 years. Nick, 4 years yourself. Yeah, so you've probably seen some changes, both good and bad, I think, sometimes for Laser, if we're honest with ourselves. If you were still key account manager in, say, 5 years, what would you want to have seen and what would your vision for Laser and its members be?
I'm going to go back to specialty services. They're all amazing electricians, amazing at what they do, but we need to see them evolve into these new markets. And the challenge is if they don't, and I'll use a group home builder, for example, you're going to get an additional trade coming in doing the solar. You're going to have additional competition working on your sites. So I think it's very important to close that door and really own your relationship with your customers.
Yeah, and if I think about someone listening to this, how do you distill that into one sentence? Is it go out and get training, do it while it's quiet? Is it look at what you're uncomfortable doing and find out more about it?
Eyes wide open. If you're not putting yourself outside your comfort zone, then you'd have to argue you're almost going backwards.
Look, I think for us, we'd actually like to see a lot bigger. I think there's just so much opportunity that I'd love to see Laser get back into real growth mode. some opportunity, we'll call it, with the network coverage, and even in areas where you've got sort of what looks like reasonable network coverage. I think you could debate long and hard about whether you've got enough in there. It's because I think you've got this massive brand. I think there's opportunity to leverage that more and just plaster the country in laser plumbing vans.
How do you guys help members in trades businesses as a whole identify those inefficiencies to get better?
Normally they'll yell at us. Look, we're always up for those conversations. I think that's a maturing in our business as well. As yes, we're sort of a high transaction business, but it's having the time and again the relationship to be able to talk to the customer. We've seen you in 3 times today. Why can we not do a van stock order? Sit down, what are your most commonly used items? Oh, you're in that service and maintenance space. Okay, you need 3 of these and 5 of these and 2 of these. And actually work with customer, put a van stock order in place. It's replenished every week, 2 weeks, whatever it is. Those are the sorts of things. They're quite small, but they deliver a lot of value because our view of a plumber is they effectively sell time, right? And so the more efficient they can be, if they can book another job in, they're not charging any more necessarily, not their hourly rate's not going up, so they can be competitive, but they're making some money on margin, they fit another job in. That has a material impact on the success of the business.
Just before we close, is there anything from your perspective that's worthwhile noting in terms of tips or something that you'd like a listener themselves to go away and do as a result of this?
Keep talking to us, right? So we try really hard to do a really good job, but if we're not doing something right, tell us. So that's the biggest ask that we would have is don't let it fester away. And if you're feeling you're not getting some support or whatever locally, there are escalation paths. It's just letting us know.
A member once said to me, this is like a marriage. It's not always perfect, but we've got to keep working on it.
And I'll wrap by saying thanks to you guys. You do a wonderful job for our network. We feel very comfortable having you sit down as a partner and tell these stories because we see the benefit across our network and it's facilitated our growth. And like you say, it's gone both ways. So from us today, thank you, gents.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Colin.
Thank you.
If you've enjoyed the episode, subscribe, like and follow where you get all your podcasts. Give us a review and find us at lasergroup.co.nz. And here's to another 25 years.
0800 Get Laser.